Boom, baby, we're live. Welcome to Tokyo Crypto Show, Season 2 with the best team ever. There is no second best. You're looking at the best right here, okay? So sit down and be quiet because we're smarter than you. We're going to make you money. We're going to talk about how Bitcoin profits move into altcoins, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Bitcoin is once again flirting with $100,000 live right now. We actually have on this Watcher Guru live stream, there's actually 918,000 people watching Bitcoin's price live right now. Is it going to break 100,000 on today's episode live? I don't know, but we have a lot to cover. Bitcoin has been going long and strong. Now, real quick, I think let's just jump right into it, guys. Thank you all for being here today. How's everybody doing?
Good. Ready to fucking go.
Yeah, tired.
Happy that everything's bouncing back.
Yeah, it is bouncing back. There's a lot going on right now. We're gonna cover this and so much more. Alex, I guess let's just jump right into it with the charts to lead the way.
Cool. We are live. So, Bitcoin price is up for 5 consecutive weeks. That's really good. Just about an hour ago, when I was putting some notes together, we got a new this little bit right here. Beautiful. We have now gone another week up. So we were expecting some sort of weakness or a bit of relaxation happening here this week. Came down, came back up, but then it closed really high in the range. And then similarly this week, we're still right here. So there's like literally there's nothing going on. 1.5% away from $100,000. The move has gone up now for 5 consecutive weeks. It suggests that we're probably going to continue upward now. Because we've gone 5 weeks up, we'll probably go 7 weeks before we can expect the drawdown. So that would be 2 weeks up. That is sort of an in general thing. When we combine that with the 60-day cycle, we've got some key dates coming up. So usually day 45 is where we would expect around there atop. So that comes in on this week on the 19th of December. So that would mean that we would get that 2 weeks. That would also make sense. So that's nice. We're sort of in a bit of a bullish cycle. The first 30 days gave us like a 42% return, which is huge. I mean, at least for Bitcoin, huge. So we come down here, the start, bang, or even higher, 53%. So I would expect the next 2 weeks for day 45 high to probably be not 50%, but it could be well and truly up to this area up here. So if we see Bitcoin anywhere around $135,000 in the next 2 weeks, I'm probably going to be selling, half the stack, to be perfectly honest, because I would expect a big reaction from there. I don't believe we'll get up this place that fast, but more like that would be a reasonable thing to happen. It wouldn't be too crazy if that actually did happen in the next 2 weeks. The next date that it could be otherwise, if we continued on a bit further, would be Donald Trump's inauguration on the 20th of January. So that is a bit further along. If I just put a little, so it'd be this week here, Monday. So then otherwise we might see we kind of keep moving sideways and up until we make sort of a top here. Now, the reason why I'm throwing out $130,000 all of a sudden when we're not even at 100 is because of a pattern called the quote unquote weekly cycle. And so basically that's like a 6-month period of time where you also experience like, a day 15 high, day 30 low, day 45 high, day 60 low that you see in the 60 day. You see that across a 6-month period. So you want to see the final top in the weekly cycle occur sort of in the second half of it. So for weekly cycles, 26 weeks. Currently, the top is here on the week number 15. So it's slightly earlier than we'd expect, because usually if it's a bit bullish, we want to peak a little bit later, closer towards that 26-week mark. So if we were to peak in the middle of December, that would be week 19. So we're within the timing band where we would expect a sort of high to be. So that would also work. Otherwise, if we got all the way to the 20th, we go 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So now all of a sudden we're very late, because in a 26-week cycle, it only gives us 2 weeks to sort of move down and reset. So then we would see like everything really overheated, and we would get that 30% drop that we tend to get every 6 months. So for the next 2 weeks, at least in Bitcoin, we would expect continued upward price action. I certainly wouldn't be selling here. That'd be kind of ridiculous because price hasn't decided where it wants to go, but it's indicating that it wants to keep going up. We are expecting an end to a weekly cycle in the coming month. So we would expect some sort of macro top for the short term. That's certainly not the final bull market top as well. So if you're only sort of half paying attention to things and you're sort of not going to look at this until the second half of next year, then do not panic, do not worry. Just kind of hold through it. But we would be expecting some sort of top followed by, you know, a 20 to 30% retracement from that top price in the coming future. So that's quite good. We are getting higher prices on lower volume, which makes sense because that tends to say there's a bit of uncertainty, and that's kind of what's happened here. We're still staying high, but you know, we're not making these massive like 15, 20% candles that we've been having in the previous couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens next week, but it looks like it wants to get at least 2 more weeks to get to 7 weeks up. So that's good. Fear and greed this week is at 84, so it's slightly higher than last week at 80. Nice. Last week, I mentioned if you hadn't swapped Solana to Ethereum, probably don't, because it looks like Ethereum's starting to get a bit of steam. And sure enough, it has. It's up about $3,800 at the moment, so it's good. On the Solana, this is the Solana Ethereum ratio. Whilst it is currently down on the weekly, it hasn't broken any like major levels. We got this low here, but we've got a lot of area here. So this is not a time to be swapping between them. If you've got your Ethereum still, just keep it. If you've got your Solana, just keep it. That's how I'm playing that. I do believe, or rather I do expect that it's a higher than like 80% chance, 90%. In fact, I would say 100% I expect Solana to outpace Ethereum over the course of this market for the remainder. But I would expect it's likely that we're going to get somewhere between like a 2 to 3 times outpacing over the course of the bull market. So it doesn't mean suddenly swap all your stuff across. That's not what I'm saying at all. If you're freaking out and you want to go from Solana back to Ethereum, I think that's not a good idea. I think on the whole, though, Solana is still on track to outpace Ethereum. We're getting a lot of excitement, and we'll talk about that today. A lot of the older coins like XRP, Cardano, Ethereum, that are just starting to pick up and get some life in them, which is good. When we start seeing that, that probably means we're getting towards the end of some sort of move, which we're going to talk about a little bit later as well. But long term, still expect Solana to outpace Ethereum by 2 to 3 times. And yeah, Solana has made new all-time highs. Ethereum is still about 21% away from all-time highs. So yeah, I am seeing that Solana is moving, or rather, see, it's peaked here 2 weeks ago. And that's a similar thing to what Bitcoin did. So we might be starting to see Solana moving a bit closer to Bitcoin than the rest of the altcoins. So if we do get a peak in Bitcoin in the next 2 weeks, I would also expect a peak in Solana in the next 2 weeks. Now, if we do get that $135,000 crazy Bitcoin price, then I would expect Solana to be up around $400 at the same time. Now, if this is happening, we'll probably be talking about it next week because this will be really good. Not saying it will happen. I'm saying if it happened, it's quite reasonable for that to happen. So the market on the whole is on track for a very strong end of year. I'm optimistic that we're going to have a very Merry Christmas. There
Indeed.
we go.
It's looking good.
Anyone else's thoughts?
That's looking good. Like I said, we're going to talk about how Bitcoin profits move into altcoins because the mania of Bitcoin ripping up has kind of not really exceeded at the previous rates that it was. It looks like Bitcoin's now at 99,000 right now, according to CoinMarketCap.
It's edging.
It's edging closer. Could we get to 100,000?
It's always when we put the show on.
It is. It really is. You have 2 indicators. Look, so this is the Watcher Guru live stream now. We're at 98.6, countdown 100K. But if you go to this was just at 99,000. Now it's at 98.99 hundo.
Yeah, it depends where. Bitstamp is at 99.13.
Yeah. So
Kraken's at 98.99.
Good stuff. I have some stuff, but who else wants to? James, you just want to talk real quick about what you see about going on from a TradFi perspective, and because a lot of crypto people are freaking out as usual, saying it's over, the top is in. You know, we're all going to zero now. It was a good bull run while it lasted.
No, nothing really has changed from TradFi's perspective, right? The new incoming administration, they start appointing head of SEC, Secretary of Treasury, head of the commodities trading. So they're kind of lining up all the new players or the new characters for next season of the White House, real world White House, right? And they seem to be very crypto friendly, anti-regulation people, which is good. From the global liquidity standpoint, nothing has changed. All the government are gearing to ease their purse strings and pump in the liquidity. And really, all I'm seeing is that we had such a huge run up from Trump's win that it's just taking a break. That's all it is.
It's been almost a month, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it's just edging. It's at 99 plus now. Jesus.
Unreal. Yeah, because what's happening right now, Elias, we haven't seen you in a while. Do you want to just give us an update from the miner's perspective? What is the minimum selling point for miners to be profitable right now when they mine a Bitcoin?
Yeah, so basically at 91K for the big ones in the US that have high electricity prices. So we're almost 10K away from the current price. They are in very good profit, and we have to keep in mind that this is at a time when we have an all-time high of the Bitcoin mining difficulty. So the number tracking competitiveness in the network and deciding how hard it is to even mine any profits is at the highest it ever was, basically. So this is, you won't see any big, if there's nothing happening with a particular company, there's no reason to see any big selling pressure in the Bitcoin mining industry right now. And those companies that are in the profit and are basically making good cash flow right now, they are tending to copy MicroStrategy right now. So Marathon mining got something like a few $100 million just to buy more BTC, and they're using that to leverage their own stock now and get more cash in for the all-time high to have a lot of cash reserves when the bear market starts again, so we can buy more machines then when it's cheaper. So I think for us, this means we won't have any selling pressures from miners. And regarding the charts, we've pretty much also seen the same thing we've seen in the last bull run. It's exactly the same regarding timing. After the halving, and we had the same stuff with about 2 weeks of sideways actions. Sideways action before crossing the 20K mark. So right now we might have might have had exactly the same thing with 100K.
Hey, watching the price, we're at $200 off.
Is it 99,800?
Yep. Oh, it is
99. Yep.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh
I like that from TradFi standpoint, there will be some tax selling towards the year end, so people can record some losses to offset their capital gains for the year, which won't be the crypto, since crypto is up so much. They'll be selling the losers for the year.
Elias, did you have chart data to show us as well?
Oh yeah.
So in order for so Bitcoin now, according to the miners, Bitcoin's price must stay at $91,000 or above. Otherwise, the miners are going to start losing profitability or not be profitable at all.
Yes, especially some bigger miners in the US. But outside of the US, you're speaking I don't know, 50K Bitcoin price if you're mining it, or lower, depending on your electricity price. So it's really chill right now.
Okay, there you go.
So I hope this is easy to see. And basically, this is the weekly chart for Bitcoin. And last time, this is the halving right here, where the green area starts.
Oh, shit.
And
Sorry.
Yep.
Breaking news, Elias. Boom, baby. We are live. We just hit $100,000 Bitcoin. Yeah, look at here. Marking it on history right here live.
Let's
boys.
go.
Let's go. $100,000 Bitcoin. Just hit. You saw it here live on the Tokyo Crypto Show, Season 2, baby. There is no second best. There's a second season, but there is no second best.
Cue the Final Fantasy victory team.
Oh my God, I love it. Here we go.
How do we keep doing it? Holy shit.
Wow. Unbelievable. We did it, guys. Holy shit. That is insane. I can't believe we got that on the screenshot, too.
Yep.
Oh, man, that is amazing.
That was us. You're welcome, everyone.
Oh, my God. It was all you, Elias. As soon as you took over, the fucking coin just went to the top. It would have went last time, but you left the episode early. But thank God you're here now. Oh my God, that is crazy. That is so crazy. What a crazy journey we've been on to see all this happening. And like I said, as soon as I came back, I took a 6-month vacation at the beginning of the year. And as soon as I came back, I just, at that time I linked up with James, actually flew out to Manila to meet him twice, and really just put this new team together of really legitimate experts. And everybody's in the field. Everybody has legitimate credentials. None of these just trust me bros. And man, that's why we came back strong and hard with the show. We knew this was going to come, and here we are 5 months later with $100,000 Bitcoin. Insane. I'm going to see what Twitter's saying right now. Twitter's probably exploding. Wow.
Yep. Oh man, we hit it again just now.
Yep. Unbelievable. Yep, there it is again. Let's get up on the
December
screen.
4th, 2024.
Easy done.
Look at that. Look at that. What a time to be alive.
yep, that's it.
Insane.
If we close to weekly green, that's just it. And what Alex said before might be very well possible.
Yeah, sorry. Let's go back to what you were saying there, Elias. We're all just celebrating. All right, let's get back to
we can ignore it now. I just had data of why we should go over 100K at the end of this week.
Let's reveal it. Let's just see if you're right.
Okay.
Let's check your theory. I want to hear your reasoning, though.
Okay, so basically this is 2020, and we've been I'm not going to measure it, but basically we've been a few hundred days after the halving, which is at the beginning of the screen area here, and the RSI just crossed over the 70 mark when I put this box in here, the small red box you can see here. And what we also had, we had about 300% profits since the market cycle low. We don't see on the screen, which is on the left. And we also have been trying to get over 20K, which is right here where my mouse is, but bumped against it on the daily. So what followed was 2 weeks of sideways action, and then we continued to pump up. That's basically what happened in 2020. And if we go to where we are right now, here I'll go on the daily and zoom in as soon as I explained it. 1 second. Basically, this is the last halving. We had exactly the same number of days until this red area here I painted in. And we just crossed the 70 mark on the RSI when basically when this started, this red area, and we've been exactly the same percentage up since the low in the last basically before the halving, the last low. And also we've been trying to break through this psychological level at 100K. So this is basically exactly the same thing that happened last cycle. And if we zoom in on the daily, we basically see how it went sideways in this box. And what I wanted to say is basically, I think that this week, if we see a green, so this is the end of the week here on the 9th. And what I wanted to say is that if we see a green candle for this week, we'll break 100K for sure, in my opinion, and then just continue to go up. Yep, but that's irrelevant now.
Now we have broken that. So continue to go up where, Elias?
I don't know. I think 110, 115.
110, 115?
Yep, just to stay conservative in the next 1 to 2 weeks.
Very interesting. Well, the Thanksgiving rally may be true, may be proven to be true here, and then yeah, it's 100,000, 150 now and climbing. So okay. Adam, do you have anything you want to say? I want to add some news real quick.
I only got some like general news about this week. The biggest one is probably that today was the launch of Tuah token.
Yeah.
And like every other celebrity coin, it was a disaster. People were already waiting on it. Someone sniped like 96% of the supply. Now people
97.
are finding out
97.
that it was probably the same deployer address. So basically, she rogged everyone. And I know it like calls everyone's attention, but for example, my brother wanted to get in, and I told him, dude, it's gonna get bad. First of all, it's a celebrity token. Every celebrity token crashes, like without an exception. And number two, there was some sort of like pre-sale already, so you could qualify to get in before. And whenever there is a sort of pre-sale, they get in at like at least a 5x below, sometimes even 10x below the launch price. So of course there's gonna be like an insta dump because they're already 10x in profit. There's no reason why they will continue holding. So yeah, it played out just like I expected, a total disaster. People are now like calling her out on Twitter, saying like, "Oh, this is where I bought $30,000 and now it's worth $2,000. So what are you gonna do about it?" Big oof, honestly. The only other like drama I've seen this week, there's the de facto NFT marketplace for crypto in general has always been OpenSea. It was the first one and was always like the biggest one. One of the biggest competitors it got at the beginning of this cycle was called Magic Eden, which also allowed for Bitcoin NFTs and Solana NFTs. And they have had like a lot of drama with regards to their airdrop and their token that they were launching. So originally, the Solana community rallied against them because they basically milked them out. So most of the volume for Magic Eden came from Solana NFTs, but they got the least amount of allocation in the airdrop from their volume. So then they complained and they apparently like redid the numbers on how to distribute the airdrop. But now there's new drama because there's a lot of people who had like, and I'm telling you, like 500 Solana in volume and onward, and none of them are eligible because they didn't make a transaction with Magic Eden in the last 6 months. But the other like 2 to 3 years that they transacted, all basically gone to the trash. So yeah, normal day crypto drama. Airdrops always create this because there will always be someone who got left out and they're going to complain that why didn't they qualify for it.
I'm still sitting here in disbelief. This is
Yeah.
insane because it's
I
at
bet the
it's at 101 right now.
DJs on crypto Twitter is going crazy.
Look at this shit. It's at 101,000. Look at this. It's just ripping.
Yeah, but it should be.
Well, that leads me to my point. So a couple points I want to talk about real quick. So as you guys know, if you're not tracking this at home, you are a lazy idiot and you're going to lose your money. Just being honest with you. Got to be Uncle MLD over here. Okay. This is the easiest website in the world. You need to go to HODL15CAPITAL, HODL15CAPITAL. That's their Twitter account. Okay. And when you see these numbers, this 12/4 means December 4th. So if you look at the ETF inflows today, it's pretty crazy. Grayscale, they sold 94 million. Their mini trust, though, they bought 56 million, probably just handing some of that over. Our capital was 0. BitB with 6.5 million. And then BlackRock today with $500 million of inflows. And yesterday, BlackRock also had $600 million in inflows as well. Now, a lot of people are asking, hey, what the hell? You guys have been saying Ethereum is dead. Ethereum is dead. Ethereum dead. Here is the other day. No, excuse me, 693 million. So basically $700 million or 70% of $1 billion. Okay. The inflows, you just need to be watching what is BlackRock doing. What is BlackRock doing? That's what you have to be asking yourself. If BlackRock stops buying, or more importantly, if they start selling, this party's over. Okay, but they're not. I'm going to go to the December 2nd flows as well to show you guys. December 2nd flows.
Interrupt for a second. If I may interrupt for a second, just taking a look at, I have a chart comparing like every major exchange, like their spot and also their futures price for Bitcoin, and like Binance, Bybit, and which is it? Binance and Bybit. The futures price for Bitcoin is already at like 103,000, almost 104.
Really?
And they usually go like a bit ahead of what the spot price is gonna do. So, yeah, either we're gonna see like a huge pump or a big ass liquidation coming any second.
Well, talking about that, everybody's been asking, like, you know, why is Ethereum pumping right now? And the reason is because, and this is something I have just been talking about with the group lately. I don't think people are picking up on this yet, but if you look at the Ethereum inflows, because BlackRock also has an Ethereum ETF, okay, guys, and BlackRock has been consistently setting all-time highs with their Ethereum inflows. That this was where was it? Yeah, the inflow for BlackRock the other day on the Ethereum inflows was pretty high. They have the ETH A, that's theirs. That's 65 million, which is big for that. BlackRock had 65 million yesterday. We haven't got the inflow numbers yet for today. Fidelity had 73 million. And remember, it doesn't take as much money to move the price of Ethereum because the market cap is lower. All right. And then since no one's really been talking about it since they've been watching on Bitcoin, but BlackRock has been setting all-time high numbers into the Ethereum inflows since the presidential election. And that, I believe, is why the price is pumping as well. People are seeing that institutions are now starting to buy Ethereum because the more money Bitcoin acquires via this ETF, the more money it's going to take to make the price go up. But you can do way more multiples with way less money with the Ethereum inflows. Here is another date, $250 million on the 29th of November. These are all-time high numbers. So the Ethereum ETF could be the Bitcoin ETF could have been a test pump for the Ethereum ETF, because if you think big picture too, right? All fiat currency is a scam. They keep on endlessly printing it, and they need more assets to inflate in value in order to keep this whole funny money thing going. And the Ethereum ETF is now a second. I mean, it's a second asset class, right, James? Because the Bitcoin was a whole new asset class, and now Ethereum is a second asset class. So
Well, it's a second in that new asset class, right? It's a second product in that new asset class of this
Correct.
crypto ETF. Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, it is a second product in the crypto ETF asset class, and it's the silver to Bitcoin's gold. So I think that we may be seeing, because Ethereum as a tech is just terrible. It's outdated. It's a piece of shit. They don't update it. But if it gets classified as a store of value, who cares? Right? Like, what is the use case of gold and silver? Like, basically jewelry, right?
Well, let's kind of step back though. Remember, our thesis from the beginning of this bull run was that Solana would replace Ethereum, right? As the number 2 kind of crypto. Well, in previous bull runs, the rotation always has been the Bitcoin to start the cycle, then Ethereum, then the other L1s, then the utility and shitcoins, right? Then the cycle repeats itself. Well, this run, it looks like to me, it went from Bitcoin to Solana, then to Ethereum and other layer ones. You guys see it? Right? Because, and then probably come the pump with the meme coins and the shit coins, right? So I think our thesis still holds that Solana is going to replace Ethereum, but it's still early in the cycle, right? And plus the Ethereum has this other on-ramp, which is the ETF. So our thesis still holds that if Solana gets the ETF, which a lot of people are filing for now,
Yes.
and later down the cycle, as the more liquidity comes in, I think more liquidity would go into Solana than ETH, given that, ETH is going to get the help from the ETF inflow, right?
James, you're wrong. I'm going to challenge the thesis right now live. Solana won't replace Ethereum. The Ethereum killer has always been XRP, dudes. After 10 years of waiting, we finally got a 5x pump. Something that fucking pumped up like 7 times last year. We got it after 10 years. XRP is the future. It's totally gonna get the Swiss bank system. XRP, $1,000. Change my mind.
I better buy some XRP. Shit.
Liquidate everything. Listen, you guys you guys are both wrong, because I've been watching this one coin for quite some time, and I really think Hex is going to make a comeback, and Hex is going to be the #1 crypto in the world.
Hey, I still hold $1,000 worth of pulse, man. Come on.
We are only 98% away from all-time high in the greatest bull market in the history of mankind. You just gotta wait. It's the sleeper. The Illuminati. They're holding Richard Hart down. They're making him fat and insufferable on purpose. They're using the psyop. They're shooting him with the fat gun. They have the heart attack gun and they have the fat gun. And
the chart's like, don't trust the chart. Don't trust anything like that. No, just feel it. You just gotta believe. We've all watched Santa Claus 2 with Tim Allen. Seeing is not believing. Believing is seeing. Okay. That's what
I think
Claus 2 and Tim
what
Allen.
we saw this week, which is the old, what we call dino coins pumping, the old tech layer ones. I think this might be a sign that the retails that left after the last full cycle is beginning to come in, right?
Yeah.
My friend in Tokyo.
My
friend in Tokyo put $40,000 into Ripple in 2017, and he's finally up.
Let's go.
Just got to hold. I'm in the market, baby.
Yeah.
Don't mind all the opportunity costs. Don't mind that. It's fine.
Oh man. But in all seriousness, I really think that a sleeper, you have to watch, guys. You have to pay attention. Okay. But watch this Ethereum ETF. I swear to God, BlackRock doesn't do things on accident. They don't make mistakes. And if they filed for a fucking ETF for this token, and now after Trump has won, you're seeing record high inflows while everybody's paying attention to Bitcoin, I really think that they might run this thing up too, because it makes financial sense. It really
It is
does.
it is a huge boomer coin, Ethereum.
And no, as somebody's saying, should we move to ETH? No, motherfucker. We were just saying, do not move to ETH right now. We were just telling you, but we are providing data to you guys. We're not telling you what to do. We are not a financial advice channel. We are just providing data and our opinions. Okay. Nothing more and nothing less. But we were talking about the meme coin thing happening before it even happened. Coinbase just listed MOG, the meme coin. Coinbase just listed Mudang. Coinbase just listed Giga. These are all crucial meme coins, all the ones we were talking about for quite some time here.
Nero too, right?
Nero was listed on, was it on Coinbase or Binance?
Or maybe it was Binance Futures, I think. Maybe
I know Nero was listed on Binance Spot as well. But yeah, I mean, and then the chill guy meme, Nancy Mace, Senator Nancy Mace from the United States Congress, she came out and posted an article or posted a picture of a chill guy. It says, chill guys don't use women's bathrooms. Like this.
That's
man.
funny.
So what a fucking time to be alive, man. It's insane. It is truly insane. Yeah, I mean, that kind of just derailed the show, but in a good way.
Yeah,
Damn.
if it stays above, we'll get a lot of media attention. And what I wanted to say about XRP and about the basically dead coins going up again is that I think if one of them makes the news, there will be a lot of people that had previously forgotten about their XRP gains, for example, and that basically will log into Coinbase again or wherever they bought and maybe try to sell it after holding for so long and waiting for so long, or just hodl it. And if they sell it, they most likely will be looking for the next crypto or for Bitcoin to get into. So I think this is pretty good news, especially if those people that bought a few K, put a few K into XRP last cycle, if they didn't check it, most likely they didn't need the money because they have enough. So those are people that have money and that just weren't watching crypto and Bitcoin over the last years. So they might just go in and buy Bitcoin for a few K.
Do you remember this guy? He was an original miner. His name is Isaac Miller. He just posted this. Remember this guy when he posted like Bitcoin just hit $100? Look at him. He just posted
here watching history be made. Is up to that's an all-time high. I saw it break twice today. It went up to 100,002, and this is the highest it's ever been. It's ridiculous. Look at, we had last trade 2 Bitcoin for $100,000 a piece. It's just amazing to me. I mean, look at this graph. Do you see this graph? This is just the last 3 minutes. Now, give me a second. I'll switch it up. I'm right here.
Yeah, man, that's unreal, dude. Totally. What a time to be alive, man. What a time to be alive.
I went to the 1 mil video.
Yeah, it's such a psychological barrier that was holding the Bitcoin down, that 100K. And finally, we have a penetration, guys.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. So a lot of people have been, James, can you maybe break this down because I'm retarded? But a lot of people are saying like the hard path was going to be from 80K to 100K. And now they said from 100K to 200 is going to be easier. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, because I think what we're going to start seeing, and we already start seeing it, like we were talking about, the Dino coins pumping, XRP and all these old layer ones pumping, I think it's a signal that money that has been sitting on the sidelines since the last bull run, it's starting to nibble, right? And they're coming in, and they're coming into something that's old and familiar. But as we know in crypto space, old and familiar just means old tech, right? So when these old previous holders that cashed out start looking to come in, they're kind of looking at, hey, let me look at XRP or, Polygon or any of these, the layer ones, Arbitrum. Then they're saying, well, I sold this at $4 and it's only at $2. So it sounds cheap. So they're kind of jumping in and jumping into all that familiar, and almost like Alex, it's almost like a value trap, right? They're looking at something cheap, and it's cheap for a reason in crypto because it's old technology, right? But then in their mind, it's just cheaper. It looks cheaper than what they sold for, right? So they're kind of coming in, which is kind of a good sign for us because that kind of signals that retail is coming back, right? And retail likes to chase high prices.
Yes.
And now I think what we're going to see is crypto market shifting from kind of a value-based, fundamental-based, price, discovery kind of based on the fundamentals to a momentum phase of the market, right?
Yeah.
Just going to be chasing high prices after high prices.
That's what they do. I mean, so many idiots were buying Ripple. One caller called in a couple weeks ago. He was like, I have like this money in Ripple. What should I do? I was like, honestly speaking, like that's a dead token. Like you should fucking get rid of that because nobody and their mother saw this coming. And then like these Ripple fucking retards came out of the nowhere and they're like, oh, how do you feel about that now? I was like, yeah, just all you need is a dollar and change more to get back to your all-time high of 2017. What do I know? I make no money. I'm poor, I'm just fucking scraping on by. But you'll see though, because that's the main episode point that we're going to talk about today is how we were talking about how Bitcoin arcs and then the blue chip arcs after it, and then the memes arc, and then there's balance reset to the force. But Bitcoin we are technically still in Bitcoin price discovery, correct?
Yes, very much.
We're over 100. Yep. The next stop is like 109. Like it should just move up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like there can't be any old sellers. There can't be like any old holders trying to sell now. Like it's just
So, I mean, like I said, but I was staying grounded this whole time because you just have to watch the ETF numbers. You just need to watch the ETF numbers. What is BlackRock doing? BlackRock controls the world. Okay, BlackRock is the head of the financial world, and even in Japanese Twitter right now, it's trending. It's Bitcoin Jumandoru, which means Bitcoin is $100,000. So it's hitting hard around the world. And yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think we got about 1 year left. I would not even say that. I would say we probably got about a solid safe bet, solid 10 months left of good price action. And then you got to get the fuck out. You've got to get out.
Q4 is when we're expecting. We'll probably get like 1 or 2 20 to 30% Bitcoin declines along the way, which is standard. But we're still on track.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Alex.
Oh, you're good, James. Go for it.
Oh, so one of the things we were talking about how it's going to be easier to go from 100,000 to 200,000 is that, remember from last few shows we were talking to you guys about the OTC volume versus what's available on the market. The BlackRock and ETFs and MicroStrategy, they have been buying OTC, which really does not impact the Bitcoin price because it's a private off-the-book sale, right?
Yeah.
But now OTC volume has been drying up, and we said last show that we're kind of seeing
that's right
the endpoint of OTC volume drying up.
Right.
So now when that dries up, there's only other way they can buy Bitcoin is by raising the price and buying it in open market at the exchanges. And that's going to drive the price up because they have to drive the price up to, motivate the potential hodlers to sell the Bitcoin, right? And they have to do this because their byline charter of their ETF says they have to buy within a certain amount of time after the money flows in to their fund. Man. And the other thing that's going to help us is that all those lever shorts and shorts that were setting below 100,000, it's going to get more painful for them as price keeps going up, and they will at some point they will have to close their short position and have to reverse the long position, right, to offset some of the losses they took being short below 100,000. So we got a few of these catalysts that's working for us towards this hopefully nice Santa rally towards the end of the year.
Look at this shit, bro. Look, I mean, as you're talking, 102,888, baby. Look at that. Fucking amazing. Amazing. Just purely amazing. Man, I'm just so happy to be seeing all this happening. So real quick, okay, so we want to talk about this one more time because this is the whole reason we did today's episode. Can you guys hear me?
You just
A
vanished
little bit
away.
low. Yep.
Yeah. Check. Hold on, my mic just tripped out. How about now? Oh, there we go. Okay, cool.
Better. Much better.
I prefer
All right.
this.
So as you guys know, we were talking about this since the beginning of the Tokyo Crypto Show Season 2, the math and fact-based episode of this show that we've been putting together here. And the number one thing you have to be paying attention to is Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin is the alpha dog of the crypto pack. Where Bitcoin goes, everybody follows. Whether Bitcoin is right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Bitcoin is king. Okay, so again, I'm going to pull up my little chart that I was just telling you guys about last time. So the price here is directly correlated to some time. All right, because as time goes on, Bitcoin adoption is happening, whether you like it or not. Okay, so again, we're going to show this. Hey, Adam, welcome back. Okay, so you can see here, this is how we're doing things, right? So we'll just use orange for Bitcoin. Okay, so as time when Bitcoin goes up, it goes like this. It goes up and it goes down and it finds its equilibrium, and then the halving hits, then it goes up and it goes down and it finds equilibrium, the halving hits, and this is what's happening so far in history. We just zoom out, look at Bitcoin. Okay, now alts typically trail behind. We'll use blue for the blue chip alts. Okay, and alts typically trail behind it in time. They usually they overshoot percentage wise of Bitcoin, and then they sometimes undershoot, and sometimes they go down to nothing and die, right? But depending, if you have a good alt, typically it's going to be following in tandem with Bitcoin as the years go by. But again, you have to remember, everybody involved in crypto is not a smart person. These are people of average intelligence, if that, and they chase the pumps. So what you're gonna see is when Bitcoin's pumping, everybody's like, okay, we got to get our money to Bitcoin. We got to get our money to Bitcoin. It's a safe investment. And then when they make all their money and Bitcoin starts to go down, they put it into an alt at another time, and then they try to increase their profits there. And that's exactly what's been happening so far. If you look at, Jesus, we're almost at 103,000. That's insane, man. James, you've been waiting for this all fucking morning too. You're like blowing up the chat. Like, where is this? Where is this?
I need it now. I need it like a crackhead. Yeah.
But if you look at what's been happening lately too, all of what the crypto Twitter is calling dino coins have been pumping. So for an example, we look at XRP. Obviously, this is some manipulation from internal sources, but just looking at this, looking at the market cap alone, right? Just going from when Trump won $30 billion to now, like adding 100 billion to that, 134, right? Drastic change. Looking at
future of finance.
What's that?
The future of finance, dude. That's
Future
the
of
100
finance.
billion.
Again, Doge
We
here.
can't already do, but it's the future.
Doge start off here, $30 billion at the presidential election date. Currently, $64 billion, another double, right? So they're all following in tandem. Tron had a huge day yesterday. You can see here, like nothing happening. This is on the 7-day. Let's go to the month. But again, going back to here, market cap 13 billion now, already doubled. Looks like it maxed out at basically almost a 3x at 36 billion there. So these coins we haven't even seen. I'm telling you, this one Shiba Inu hasn't had its pump yet, but I'm telling you, this is going to have some wild ramifications here. That went from 10 billion, and looks like we peaked up here around 20. So right now, Bitcoin is still in price discovery. Bitcoin is still figuring out where it's going to kind of, channel at. Channel in regards to means like what that kind of price is going to flat range at, like what range it's going to stay, anywhere between 110 to 120. Once Bitcoin stabilizes, then the profits start trickling down into the rest of the market. And the number one indicator you could look at, and it's already started to happen, because as Bitcoin was doing its price discovery, Bitcoin dominance was 60%. Now it's at 55%. And when Bitcoin dominance starts to go down, that means the money is heading into the altcoins. So people who think that Bitcoin dominance is when Bitcoin dominance is going down, it's a bad thing. That's actually not the truth at all. So like, for example, during the 2017 here, right, Bitcoin dominance right around beginning where we are right now, 86%. And then we had 2017. You see Bitcoin dominance is crashing downwards, right? But this is when all the alts started ripping, had a little bit of regaining, and then that's when it said its all-time high around December 2017. But as you can see, then the alt market had its final run up into February, and then the bull market was over. Then Bitcoin builds back up in dominance, charges up, and when Bitcoin charges up in dominance, and then again right around the election time, it was started setting all-time highs there, 64, 65, 69, and then boom, we had that wild ass alt season that led up until Bitcoin's all-time high around the April, March area. So right now we're seeing a build up again. And we did peak around, I think we peaked at 60%-ish, right around
60.
here. What's that?
61.5.
61.5. And then now we're at 55. But now again, because Bitcoin, the thing that's crazy about Bitcoin is like Trump, like what James Bitcoin was saying at the beginning, right? The Trump presidency and this next season of administration is the first ever pro crypto government the United States has ever had. The market cap of Bitcoin right now is $2 trillion fucking dollars.
Yep.
Okay. We are just getting started because they are going to be pumping the shit out of this, because the crypto, listen, let's be honest about crypto people. They don't save their money. Okay. Crypto bros don't save their money. Okay. And this is new money that can go out to the economy and stimulate things and make things go and have economic growth, which is starving. And Marc Anderson was recently on the Joe Rogan podcast. If you guys have not watched this episode, okay, of the Joe Rogan podcast with Marc Anderson, we played a couple clips last week, okay, but he said everything. This was 8 days ago. It's 3 hours long, but I'm telling you, if you care about the future of the economy, you care about the future of crypto, and you care about the future of America, you need to watch this podcast right here. It's episode 2234. Marc Anderson, okay? He talked about how the Biden administration was anti-crypto. They even said that Bitcoin and the previous 2021 bull market was cut short because the Biden administration started sending out these legal notices to people saying, you've been debanked. You can no longer bank anywhere in America. And if you continue what you're doing, we're going to press charges against you and you're going to be arrested. It was called a Wells notice. Okay. This is real. And this has happened under the Biden regime. And the Biden regime is now being fully exposed for being ultimately corrupt. Remember, they tried to impeach President Trump over the laptop situation, which Joe Biden just pardoned his son for. which just verifiably and irrefutably proves that Trump was right, and there's a ton of corruption going on in the Biden administration. People are now actually saying that Biden is in talks to pardon Anthony Fauci. I don't know if you guys have heard that.
Oh,
But-
no way.
You know,
Yeah.
I think it's more than Biden, right? I think, just kind of step back a little bit, I think there has been this huge rot in U.S. government for a very long time because it just kept growing for the growth's sake, and they've been enacting these regulations and control over the U.S. citizen and industry, which were majority of them non-constitutional, right? How can you have laws and regulations that are not approved by Congress? That just doesn't make any sense. Remember going back to your high school civic class that every law in U.S. have to be approved by the House of Representatives and the Senate, and it is up to the president and the DOJ and the executive branch to enforce it and execute it, and it's Supreme Court to decide ultimately it is constitutional or not, right? And a lot of the executive orders and regulations that came down since back in, I bet, Bush Senior, Jimmy Carter days have been enacted by these unelected bureaucrats sitting in U.S. government that had no basis for it, no constitutional basis. And I think, what we're seeing since the Biden administration is that it's just being exposed and it's starting to collapse under its own weight because it got so big. And I think it is that, the whole Department of Government Efficiency thing, I hope it brings more light to it and they can get rid of a lot of this rot that's been there, and which would hopefully rebalance and bring some control of the spending, government spending, which would again reduce our inflation, right? And that's going to, maybe even lower our taxes, because a lot of the tax code is unconstitutional, realistically speaking, right? So I think it's a good thing. I think there are a lot of things that we're going to see over the next 2 to 4 years that's going to really surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, and then also, we completely skipped over the fact that Paul Atkins was now appointed as the head of the SEC.
SEC, yep.
And Paul Atkins
Very
is
pro-crypto.
Pro-crypto. You have Gary Gensler, who is anti-crypto, which is getting the whole matrix of their government rot and corruption is now being exposed. And 2025 is damn, it's looking wild, bro. It's looking wild. Well, what a fucking time to be alive, honestly speaking. Just quite frankly, what a crazy time to be alive. Bitcoin's at 103,536. It is continuing to climb. I'll just show you guys. I mean, this is just insane. Look at this shit. Look at that. 103. I have to keep updating the price ticker at the bottom. The price ticker says 101,500. Now I can't keep up with it and run the show at the same time. What were we saying, Adam?
Fun fact, today is 15 years, 11 months, and 1 day since Bitcoin launched. So we still technically had like 29 days for it to reach 100K before Bitcoin was 60 years old.
I said next stop 120,000.
Yeah, Elias, you have Ren Pen Acoustics. Look, you got a fan. She says, I want to hear what Elias thinks. Elias, you have something you wanted to add about the next potential top?
Yep. So this is just take it as speculation, basically. But this is the daily chart with the election right here, just to set a bit of a time frame. And I hope you can see it, but I painted in basically yellow and purple stripes right here. And those are the ghost patterns of the last 2 cycles.
Those are ghost patterns of the previous 2, so 2021 and 2017 cycle.
And and they are synced up to have the same time since the halving. So basically they're synced since the halving date. I can zoom out a bit. showed here. This was the halving, and basically I took the halving from the last 2 times, and you can do it quite easily on TradingView, and this is where we would go in the long term, which is too speculative to talk about right now. But what we can see in the last 2 cycles was that basically on New Year's, so on the last day of the year, we had a local top more or less, and then we had our first dump, and we can put this in like one cycle. It's about a 2-week period while we saw this action, and that would put us right at 120K at New Year's, and I think this is pretty realistic that we just go up to 120 now over the next 4 weeks, and then go sideways for maybe 2 weeks till the 2nd week of January. If this is just speculation, if what happened the last 2 times repeats basically. And after that, we only have a few days left to the inauguration. I think it was January 20th, right, in the US?
January 20th, correct.
Yep. So this would January 20th would be right here, basically, where the mouse is at right now. So if the inauguration, everything goes right, maybe we go back down to 110K or even 105K for the inauguration date. If we go up now till January, and if everything goes all right, we have a local low, basically at 100K or 105K, something like that, and continue pumping from there. That's basically what this is in my mind.
Amazing, man. That's just it, and honestly, it shows too how the hey guys, go ahead and smash the like button. By the way, everybody here, just hit that like button. It kind of lines up perfectly with what you said, because also these are the Bitcoin history of returns by the month, and we're already at 1% up for the month of December. As I told you guys previously, if you've been watching since we said if we have a green September, typically we have a green October, and then typically we have a green November. And the big X factor here was, does Donald Trump win the presidency as the first ever pro-crypto president in the United States of America in history? And he did. We had a monumental November. We had the first ever monthly candle of like 20,000 plus. So things are going to get crazy, guys. Things are going to get crazy, and crazy in a good way, because as you know, 2024 is a halving year. Now, we had an amazing year because of the ETFs adding liquidity, adding cash, but it's not like they're going to stop next year. This potentially was a test pump and a test run. I think 2025, when you have full governmental support, the talk of a Bitcoin strategic reserve, the first ever pro-crypto cabinet ever in the history of American government, with the pro-crypto President Donald Trump leading the way.
Yep.
2025 is set up to be a really crazy year, because if you look at 2020, okay, take a look here real quick. This is 2020, 27%. And then when the presidency was stolen through the fraudulent election, it still went up 43%. And then December had a 47%. You're like, oh, yeah, that's a great year. No, it didn't stop. Keep going. Look at 2021. And then January, 14%. February, 36%. And March, 29%. So you had half a year, 6 months of green. It is just crazy when you think about it. So that's with all the forces against us. And then in 2021, this is when the Biden administration got into office and killed the bull run. Because if you look at it, they killed it off there. And then 2022 was just devastating during that bull market or bear market year. 2023, we started to recover a little bit, but then crashed down again. And then when October was, this was the leak of the ETF news happened here. And then again, we had 6 months of price action moving upwards. And now here we are. So we're currently, if December closes green, which most likely it will, you're looking at potentially having a run into January, February, March. James, you're the TradFi expert. What would you say? Is that out of the picture, or is that too hopey?
I think you nailed it right on the head. I think we're going to see continuous melt up to probably March period. And my question now I have is that this officially, I know the ETF started in January this year, right? But next April would be the first year officially the Bitcoin ETF would be there for, you know, in TradFi word, there's a saying that selling may go away, which means that starting in Memorial Day, there should be a huge pullback during the summer since the activity is kind of slowed down during the summer. So as you see, kind of Bitcoin tend to have that correction or the pullback in the second quarter of the year, right? April, May, June period, typically. However, next year, 2025, will be the first year that Bitcoin ETF is in play. So I don't know if we're going to have as big of a correction in April, May, June next year as we typically have every year, right? Because the Bitcoin ETF, I think, would be there to provide liquidity to cushion some of the corrections or the pullbacks.
Well, I'll tell you what, too, given everything that's happening, and then I'm telling you guys, the Ethereum ETF inflows is I found a Twitter you can track these things on. And the Ethereum inflows are something you absolutely must follow. This one it's Farside UK. They're an investment company from the UK. If you follow them, they will show you the inflows. Again, Fidelity today, 40 million with the inflows. And then more. And then in addition to that, too, there's so many more ETFs coming to the board. The first round of ETFs that are set to be approved are on the 25th of January. And that's with the new SEC head. That is with the pro-crypto government. And they're applying for the, I have it right here. It's a little bit small, but actually here, let me enlarge this because this is really important. I want to show you guys this. 2 seconds. Let me get this up because it's on like this fucking old school terminal shit that these goddamn TradFi boomers use. Sorry, James. But here, this is exactly what's set up for here. It's going to be slightly pixelated, but pay attention because this is really important here, chat. So if you guys can see this clearly at home, all right, this is just raw data straight from the government. All right, these are all new assets that are, so we have the hashtag's NASDAQ crypto index. Okay, the asset is Bitcoin and Ethereum. Their third deadline is the 29th of December, so we're going to keep an eye on that. The Franklin Crypto Index ETF, their deadline is the 6th of the January. And it looks like the red indicates that they didn't pass, right? It's been delayed, denied, skipped, or withdrawn. Yeah. Here at the bottom, red indicates they've been delayed, denied, skipped, or withdrawn. So now, Grayscale Digital Large. This is a convertible conversion one. That's going to be a basket of assets. That's set up for the 19th. That's in 2 weeks from now. And then here, take a look here. We have the Solana, the Van X Solana, the 21 share core Solana. So these 4 Solana ones, the first deadline is, so they filed on the 21st, which was about 2 weeks ago. And then the first deadline is the 25th here. And then you have the 30th here. And then you have one down here, the 23rd. So if these do get approved, we're going to see a monsoon, like a tsunami, just a tidal wave of money coming into this sector. It's unbelievable just to see that where we are right now. And this is just a few. I mean, we have Goldman Sachs also in the waiting to launch their ETF. And all this institutional money, which manages billions upon billions upon billions to fucking get this money going.
And kind of dialing back, the index ETF, right? Basket of crypto ETFs.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way it'll work typically like the S&P 500 ETFs. They would look at the market cap of cryptos, and they would take out all the stables, right? Because they're just stables are cash equivalent, right? Then they'll pick like top 20 or top 50 and just allocate it based on the size of their market cap, which means, you know, it would act like another mini BTC, ETH, Solana ETFs, because they're going to have to buy them based on the market cap, right? Which would add more fuel to the BTC or Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, what we're seeing, this is not, again, this isn't hopium. This isn't like, you know, bro science. This is all legitimate here. And then something just hit my desk. One of my friends, Kyle, just sent me this. If you take a look at this right here, $8 billion worth of Bitcoin shorts to be liquidated at 110,000. So, you know how these exchanges work. They don't want to pay out that money. So 110,000 Bitcoin is on the table as well. And like I said, we're just getting started. This crazy senile fuck is still the president. And you know, did you see he fell asleep at the table with all the leaders in Africa? He was just like sleeping. Yeah. He gave $1 billion to them. He's like, I'm gonna take a nap now.
You know, he doesn't give a fuck anymore, dude.
No, he just pardoned his son. He does not give a damn. So now it's nighttime in America, but I assure you, in the morning, all of these mainstream media Satanists are going to be out here demonizing Bitcoin and talking all this nonsense. But, you know, who's laughing now?
What would Peter Schiff say? I wonder.
Did you see the mayor of New York? He was talking shit to everybody about how he took his first 3 paychecks in Bitcoin. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, he said something like, "Who's laughing now?"
Yeah. Look at here. This is the mayor of New York.
We should not be afraid of Bitcoin. Remember y'all laughed at me when I first got my Bitcoin? Who's laughing now?
Is he an undercover DJ?
What?
Now you wish you would have done.
Is he undercover DJ?
He's got one ear pierced. I would say so. And he's actually on board with the Trump policies, and he already is shutting down all these illegal the migrant centers, and he's cutting the money.
Oh man.
They're starting the lawfare.
Yeah, New York might be coming up.
Yep.
New York might be coming up, man.
No, times are changing. Times are changing. Good times ahead. I've been saying this on my channel for quite some time in multiple streams, but good times are coming. And yeah, man, here we are, 100,000 Bitcoin. You saw it here live, boys. And listen, never forget this moment in history when you're at home with us on the Tokyo Crypto Show Season 2. There is no second best crypto show in the world, where we watched Bitcoin go from 98,000 all the way up to 103,000 plus. Just insanity. I'm so happy to see this happening. Everybody on this team, everybody in this channel, everybody on this screen has worked so hard with me since December. We worked together from December. I told a couple of these guys I'm going to be starting a new show. These guys, nobody's getting paid. You know, they're all doing this. This is kind of everybody's redemption arc after the channel that shall not be named fucked everybody on this, everybody here. But it's been a great team. We also have multiple people in our group that are in the chat watching us right now who have been part of it. We want to say thank you to those members. And, you know, we're just going to keep on doing what we think is the right thing. Just providing you with as much logical data as possible. Not we think, we hope, this guy said that. Math, inflows, chart history, Elias on the ground, building Bitcoin mining facilities, direct data from the miners. Adham is a blockchain coder himself. Alex is an expert chart analyst. And then James here, 20 plus years in the TradFi industry, generating millions upon millions upon millions of dollars for 20 plus years of his life. And we really believe that we have the best team, and it's not about, anything but producing the most valuable data for you guys, because we want everybody to make money. That's the thing. That's why we're never going to tell you to buy some crazy speculative shit like Hex or anything and kind of gamble and hope things happen. We're just going to make what we believe to be logical calls based upon data and data only. What a time to be alive. I'm so happy to be here, guys. Guys in the chat, guys on the panel with me. Thank you all for being here. All you guys. If anyone wants to say anything, go ahead. We're going to wrap it up now.
Enjoy.
Good to go.
Merry fucking Christmas, guys.
XRP to $10.
All right, guys. Well, that does it for us here at Tokyo Crypto Show Season 2. We'll see you guys later. Take care. Peace out.